So last year, Caitlyn Clark had to deal with this. Last year, Caitlyn Clark had to deal with this. And I can't believe I haven't made a video on this. This literally was what people were talking about on Sunday. I am so late to this. And I would assume a lot of people have made videos on this. I am super duper late to this. So I do have to say I am sorry for being so late to this. But I saw this clip today and was like, oh crap, I forgot to talk about what Christie side said. So obviously this was an article where, say not an article, this was Alyssa Smith kind of hyping up Caitlyn. And I have to say, like, again, nothing against Alyssa the person. She seems like a really good person. But, lads, do we not remember?
Yeah, I think she's used to some shots that she's taken in the last few years that are just those deep shots. And I don't know if there's times she comes off ball screens where she's open in that long two area. And we've got to get her comfortable taking that long two.
And this wouldn't be as bad. This would not be as bad if she meant mid-range or the in-between game. She meant long two. Like, sometimes people say the long two, but they mean the mid-range. However, I mean this when I say this. Like, she was doing long twos. She had the team practicing jump shots from this much inside the 3-point line. She meant the long. When she said long two, she meant the long two. And now you have got Christie sides. Or sorry, that was Christie sides. Now you've got Stephanie White talking about it. And this is what she has to say.
I've been watching her do it for 5 years, really. So that's just who she is. It's what she does. I mean, nobody tells Steph Curry not to take good shots, right?
And yeah, that is genuinely, it is a, it's mad. It's just mad listening to a good coach versus an iffy coach. Or a not even iffy coach. A pretty, like, I don't want to go too hard on Christie's sides, like, because again, I just think her knowledge of the sport of basketball was non-existent. It was absolutely non-existent. But you've got Stephanie White out here talking about there's no point. Essentially, yeah, whereas like just not putting limitations on Caitlyn Clark. Like, that was what I always said, and I was like, she got Caitlyn Clark and wanted her to play like Erica Wheeler. Which is mad. Which is absolutely mad. Like, she was not ready. Lynn Dunn was not ready. Again, they got Caitlyn Clark and they wanted to play her like she was Erica Wheeler. But the thing is, they already had an Erica Wheeler. And it was actually kind of scary early on in the year, when it came to the Fever last year, that they looked better when Caitlyn Clark was off the floor earlier on in the year. They actually did. When they were playing sides ball. And that's what I always said as well. And I was like, if you're playing sides ball, which is dribble down the floor and either dump it into Aaliyah Boston and she goes one-on-one and everyone stands around and watches, either that or you dribble down the floor, Caitlyn Clark's on the right wing or the left wing, Kelsey Mitchell's on the right wing, and you give the ball to Kelsey Mitchell, and you ignore Caitlyn Clark, and Kelsey Mitchell goes dribble, step back, long two, brick. When you played sides ball, this team was not good. But that's the thing, like, you do not. It's so mad looking back on it, and so mad seeing what Stephanie White is such a big upgrade. And look, I say this, I don't know how good a coach Stephanie White is. But at least she's a coach. She's a basketball coach. That's the only thing I can say is, like, you can tell she is a basketball coach. And I don't know if she's going to be a good one. I don't know if she's going to be a bad one. But you can tell that she knows something about the sport of basketball. You can tell that she's coaching, like, her coaching philosophy is not something that was written in a book that you could come up with by reading a book written in the 1960s. And the one positive thing with Christie Sides was there was a stage where she just said, screw it, I'm not coaching, and just let the team do whatever they wanted, and Caitlyn Clark ran the show, and the team looked good. And then we got to the playoffs, and like a coach who thought that controlling the tempo meant slowing down should never coach Caitlyn Clark, because the faster the game goes, the more, like, you don't even think turnovers are bad, because turnovers aren't even bad, because once the game turns into a freaking ping pong match speed, where it says run up, run down, run up, run down, run up, run down, super quick, that works to the Fever's advantage. Because the Fever have depth, the Fever have a point guard who'll just throw the ball ahead. And yeah, so many good things are coming from the Indiana Fever right now anyway. And it genuinely is just like anything good from this team comes from Caitlyn Clark. And I mean this, Caitlyn Clark is so good in transition. I think you could maybe argue her transition passing is her best asset. But everything good from Caitlyn Clark in the half court comes from the range, comes from the gravity, in terms of drawing double teams, drawing blitzes. All comes from the gravity. The fact and the reality is, more often than not, she's able to get to the basket because people are trying to guard her near half court. And she's not explosive. But what she is very good at is, if she has a step ahead of you, she's good at kind of cutting you off and finishing. And because she's not explosive, she can get that step when you push up a little bit too high for her. But yeah, it's a crazy thing to see from Christie Sides. Like, Christie Sides it was a weird era. It was a really, really weird era. And regardless of Christie Sides, like, Stephanie White essentially saying, we're going to let Caitlyn be Caitlyn and not try to put limitations on the best point guard in the league, or the best guard in the league by a long shot. Like, I think there's no argument for any other guard over Caitlyn Clark that can be made in good faith right now. You can maybe argue she's the 5th best player in the W. Heck, even if you want to argue 6th, no guard in that conversation. No guard in that conversation. And maybe, just maybe, I will entertain the Jackie Young debate. I will entertain it because Jackie Young's an elite defender. But if you watch Jackie Young, a lot of the time she plays one or the other. She's either an elite defender or an elite offensive player. She kind of plays one or the other. Same with Kalia Copper. Caitlyn Clark in general is just different. And now she's got a coach that is going to let Caitlyn be Caitlyn. But anyway, I'll see you guys.